Something that I really wish I could have found before we headed out to Alaska was a video breaking down exactly how much expenses it costs for a family of 5 to travel to Alaska for a travel nurse contract, meaning they were going to be in Alaska for 3 months or longer. A lot of people put out their information about visiting Alaska, and it's in the context of a vacation. And since this is in the context of working, we had a little bit different things going on here. We did have to stay in one place for 3 months. We did some side trips, but we largely stayed in Anchorage, and we did stay in our RV the entire time. So today I'm bringing you a total detailed list. I am bearing it all. Some of it's kind of embarrassing. I'm bearing all of the facts and figures for you. If you're a numbers cruncher like I am, this video is for you. And if you're not and you're just nosy, that's fine too. So I'm doing my laundry right now. The kids are watching the live action Aladdin inside, and I snuck away so that I could come bring you some figures that I've written up about travel nursing in Alaska. We had always planned on coming to Alaska at some point in our lives. Normally we thought of it as like a vacation. We'd either cruise here and then take excursions, or fly here and then do things. And if you look at that, booking that is very expensive for a vacation.
I went to alaska.org, which, as it turns out, has been a huge resource for us in planning all of our excursions, way more so than even the milepost. On there, they suggest that to plan a 7-day vacation for your family, you should count on $3,000 per person for 7 days. Further down, it has a cost calculator, which you can type in the number of days, how many people, and what type of lodging and car rental that you might need. Now, of course, if you're bringing up your own vehicle and you live in your RV, you'll have different expenses. But as a ballpark figure for a vacation, if I wanted to stay for 30 days with my family, it would cost us $47,635 for 30 days on vacation.
I can't speak for everyone, but for us, we wouldn't have been able to come for very long before we would run out of funds. We knew as a travel nurse family that this was going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to explore the great state of Alaska without breaking the bank. Because let me tell you, Alaska is expensive. First of all, if you're planning on taking your RV and you want to come up on the ferry, we did look into that. It would have cost us upwards of $15,000. I don't know if I've put this in any of our videos before, but that's the reason why we chose not to go the ferry route. And that was one way. So we'd have to do it going back that way also. That was a no-go for us. $30,000 to transport everything by ferry to and fro, not okay. So then we had to decide, are we gonna try to drive this through all the COVID stuff, which is what we did, and we have videos up here talking about that experience. We are just getting ready to leave, and we hope that we're not gonna have any issues headed back. So this video is before we head back, but I'm going to break down the cost, and I assume that the costs will be very similar going back as they were coming up. All right, I'm gonna need some coffee for this. I told you some of it's a little bit embarrassing. Your expenses are gonna vary based on what your family decides to do. Our family, well, we ate out a lot more than I thought we did. So our figures are a little skewed, and in Alaska, a sit-down restaurant for a family of 5 is easily over $100 for the ticket, and that's for like an IHOP or a Texas Roadhouse. If you go someplace nice or you're ordering things like fish and chips, you can expect to spend $150 to $200 just for one meal for your family of 5. Ouch. I'm gonna start this out. I'm gonna tell you the different categories. We're gonna talk about fuel, groceries, eating out, excursions, RV park costs and associated costs like propane, and vehicle maintenance. Vehicle maintenance category is going to include all 3, the truck, the Jeep, and the RV itself. So this includes not in prep. This is not including preparation to get up here. You can look at some of our previous videos on how much money we put into it to prep it before we came. This is while we've been here. This is oil changes. We did have to get 2 new tires, repairs for the cables on the RV, and just various things that we've had to fix or take care of while we've been here. Not including gas, not including any of that. It's just maintenance. I'd also split it up into the total since we crossed the border on May 30th which is about 16 weeks. And I'm gonna post the total, and I'm also gonna post the average weekly. And the reason I'm doing the average weekly is because if you're a travel nurse, you likely budget your whole life on a weekly expense basis. So by the end of this video, I hope that you'll be able to see exactly how much you're going to need to land a contract for in order to make your trip viable, or to at least break even. And spoiler alert, we didn't break even. The cost that it took us to get to Alaska from the Montana-Canadian border was roughly $1,500. The exact figure is $1,455.49, and that is only fuel and a couple of times eating out. As you know, we could not stop anywhere. We were not allowed to go in anywhere and shop or anything like that, or do any kind of sightseeing. So this is just fuel and a couple of times at fast food restaurants. So we're accounting for about the same amount of money on the way back. Okay, so the total fuel for the entire trip is almost $4,000, $3,941.08. That includes all the fuel for both the Jeep and the truck. John went to work, and he did use his truck as a commute vehicle to and from work. However, we were only like 10 miles, if that, from the hospital. We did take a couple excursions. We went to Seward twice, we went to Valdez, and of course we did the Dalton. So there was some significant driving involved. So about $250 per week spent on fuel. Groceries, our grand total bill for groceries was $6,250.73. That sounds like a huge chunk of change until you break it down by week, which was $390.67 in groceries. That's definitely higher than our normal average for groceries. It's Alaska, groceries are more expensive here, so count on that. And like I said, this is for a family of 5. Now, this is the one that I was a little bit embarrassed about because it adds up so quickly and we weren't really paying attention. And so eating out came to $4,647.88 over a 16-week period. Break that down by a weekly, that is $290.49. So about $300 a week spent on eating out. Oh my gosh. So then the next one is our excursions. We tried really hard to save money on our excursions. They're very expensive here, especially for a family of 5. If you want to go do the bucket list things, you are going to pay for the bucket list experiences. Luckily, there's lots of free things to do here, between hiking and geocaching and bike riding, all kinds of things that you can do for free. So these excursions that we did, that would be like the Matanuska ice glacier hike thing that we did, our river raft ride, and some other various things that we spent money on in the excursions category. So it came to $1,571.85 for a weekly cost of about $100, $98.24 in the weekly budget. Then we have the RV park expenses. We love to boondock, as you know, but in Anchorage there's not a lot of boondocking opportunity that's close by. So we did pay for a park to stay in. We did stay in a park a couple nights in Fairbanks, and we stayed in a park in Palmer. So our total for park expenses and also propane expenses was $3,174.66 for a weekly average of $198.42, roughly $200 a week spent on housing. Finally, our vehicle maintenance category for the entire time that we've been here was $1,561.77 and a weekly average of $97.60. So $100 a week in maintenance costs. Okay, you guys, my battery died right as I was going to tell you the final figure. The final figure for how much we spent in Alaska was $21,147.97. So let's round that, $21,000 it costs for our family of 5 to stay in Alaska for 16 weeks. Oh my gosh, this sounds like an incredibly huge sum of money. When you break it down by weekly cost, that is $1,415.50 per week. And this is only based on Alaska expenses. It's not including our other normal expenses that we have. We started out debt-free, but we've acquired debt along the way. So we have a truck payment and a Jeep payment, and we have a cell phone bill and our health share. So when you add those costs in, it's about $1,800 a week that is needed to make this contract work. That is the figure, the bottom line figure of what we would need for a travel nurse contract to make this work and to break even. I told you we didn't break even. So the contract, as you can gather, is less than that. We took the first contract that we could get, the only contract that we could get at the time, so we took a small paying contract so that we could have this experience. Luckily, we have some other forms of income that we were able to use. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. I wish there would have been a video like this when we got started, so we would have good expectations of what we were going to spend, and we kind of figured that we were just going to break even and it would be about the experience, which is exactly what it's been, which is great. I'm so glad that we got to do this. Can I just take a second and say, there's no way we could have ever afforded to come here to Alaska and explore for 16 weeks. Outside of travel nursing. So we are forever grateful for that. And we would have been at home living paycheck to paycheck prior to this. And we may be living paycheck to paycheck now in Alaska, but we're in Alaska. So I have no regrets. I think I'm gonna have to go in and swap my laundry now. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that the breakdown didn't totally I didn't leave you behind in my swarm of numbers. I'm a numbers person. I love to crunch the numbers. I also want to say that if you're traveling as a couple or you're traveling by yourself, you're going to have a whole different experience altogether. We're going to do another video on that because we were surprised by the things that we could not do because we had children with us. It's also very price prohibiting to have the extra people with you. So if you're traveling as a travel nurse with just your spouse or by yourself, I think that you'll probably come out on top. But as a family, you have to think about it as the experience, which to me is priceless. My arm's gonna fall off, my battery's gonna die, my clothes are gonna get moldy. I gotta go. Thank you so much for watching, and follow us through Canada, and we'll see you out there.